I always knew my mom was strict, but I never thought she'd spy on me. One day I found something hidden in my room, something that changed the way I saw her forever. I was 16 when I first noticed something weird about my bedroom. I couldn't exactly explain it, just this feeling like someone was always watching me. I kept brushing it off. Maybe I was being paranoid, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Then one night, I dropped my phone behind my nightstand. While reaching to grab it, my fingers hit something strange, cold, metallic. I pulled it out and froze. It was a tiny camera, like one of those hidden spy cameras people use in horror movies. My heart started racing. What the hell? Who would put this in my room? At first, I thought maybe my little brother was pulling a prank. He's always trying to scare me. But this felt too real, too deliberate. And the way it was installed, it was hidden deep, wired into the wall like someone really didn't want it to be found. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling, my mind racing. The next morning, I skipped school and stayed home to search the entire room, and I found two more, one behind a vent and another inside a fake smoke detector. That's when I started to panic. I wasn't imagining it. Someone had been watching me every night, every change of clothes, every conversation. I couldn't breathe. My first instinct was to call the police, but then I thought, wait, the cameras were inside the walls, inside our house. That meant someone from inside had to know, someone with access. And there was only one person who always had access to every corner of this house. My mom. I know how it sounds. Your mom? Really? But you don't know her like I do. She's always been intense, overprotective, controlling. She tracks my phone, reads my messages, monitors every friend I make. Still, spying on me in my own bedroom. I had to be sure. So I did something risky. I left one of the cameras right where it was, but this time I recorded it. I set up my phone to record the camera itself overnight. If it moved, blinked, or anything, I'd catch it. And guess what? At 3:12 a.m., the camera lights blinked just once. Someone was watching. I didn't go to school again. I couldn't. I was too shaken. I confronted my little brother first. He had no idea what I was talking about. He swore he'd never even been in my room without me. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through my mom's room, and in her closet, buried under a box of old receipts, I found a small black device. It looked like a TV remote, but I recognized it immediately. It was a camera controller, and it was paired with my room's device. I just sat there, holding it, my fingers trembling. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat. That evening, I waited. I acted like everything was normal. We ate dinner. Mom asked about school. I nodded, said everything was fine, but my stomach was twisted in knots. Later that night, while she was doing dishes, I walked up and quietly said, "Why are there cameras in my room?" She froze. Her back was to me, but I saw her shoulders tense. "What are you talking about?" she said, trying to sound casual. "Don't lie to me," I whispered. "I found them, all three." She didn't answer at first. Then she turned around slowly and said something I'll never forget. "I did it to protect you." My jaw dropped. "Protect me? From what?" "You don't understand," she said, looking panicked now. "There are things going on you don't see, people who might hurt you. I needed to make sure you were safe." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So spying on me while I sleep was your way of keeping me safe?" She tried to grab my hands, but I stepped back. "I did what I had to," she said. "You're my child. I have the right to know what's happening in this house." I stared at her, horrified. "No," I whispered. "You don't. Not like that." She opened her mouth to respond, but I turned and ran to my room. I locked the door, pushed my dresser in front of it, and cried. Because in that moment, I didn't know what was worse. The fact that I'd been watched, or the fact that the person watching me was my own mother. The next morning, the whole house felt heavier, like silence itself had a weight. I didn't sleep. I just waited. I knew I had to talk to Mom again, but something had shifted. I wasn't just the girl caught in a lie. I was the girl trying to uncover the truth. At breakfast, I asked carefully, Mom, why don't we ever talk about Dad's job, like the details? She froze for a second. Then she sipped her coffee and said, because there's nothing to talk about. He was a cop. He worked a lot, that's it. But her eyes didn't meet mine. That was it. I decided to act. I skipped school and went back to the attic. This time I searched every corner, every box, and I found something. A small locked box. I picked the lock with a bobby pin. Thank you, YouTube tutorials. And inside were old photos and tapes labeled with dates and numbers. One was labeled Case X021 Internal Affairs. I had no idea what that meant, but I felt a chill. I found Dad's old recorder in the same box and put the tape in. His voice came on, low and anxious. This is Officer Blake Carter. This is a personal log. I'm starting this because I can't keep quiet. What I've seen, what I've been ordered to do, it's not right. I paused it. My hands were shaking. My dad was, what, a whistleblower? I kept listening. He spoke of a corrupt unit in his department. He named names. He said he was being followed, that if anything happened to him, someone should find these tapes. And then he said, if my family ever finds this, I'm sorry. I had to protect you the only way I could. I dropped the recorder. It all made sense now. The paranoia, the distance, the fake stories, maybe even his disappearance. I couldn't keep this to myself. I showed the tapes to Mom that night. At first she screamed, told me to destroy them, but then she listened and she cried like I'd never seen her cry before. He left because he thought they'd come after us, she said. I begged him not to do it, but he wouldn't stop. He thought he could change the system. Now I had a new mission. I uploaded a redacted version of one tape to a private forum for journalists. One reporter responded, then another. Suddenly, people were asking questions. 2 weeks later, a major podcast featured the story anonymous, but real. And guess what? One of the officers Dad named, he was arrested. Then the real shock came. I got a letter in the mail, no return address, just a single sentence. You did good, kid. Stay quiet now. Inside was a photo. My dad, somewhere in the background of a crowd, still alive. I never saw him again. But I didn't need to. He didn't abandon us. He sacrificed himself for something bigger. And now his story is finally out, even if it had to come through me. Looking back, I still don't know how I survived all of this. My own father, a man who was supposed to stand for justice, who wore a badge and told others how to live right, he was the one tearing our lives apart from the inside. He didn't just fail me as a father. He failed as a man, as a protector, as a role model. But maybe that's the point. Maybe this was never about him at all. Maybe this was about me, the person I had to become, the strength I had to find inside myself when the world betrayed me. I used to believe that justice was black and white, that the good guys wore uniforms and the bad guys got locked away. But life doesn't work like that. Sometimes the villain lives under your roof. Sometimes the liar is the one whose voice you grew up trusting. When I saw my father in handcuffs, being led away by the very police department he once commanded, I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel victory. I felt it. Grief, pure grief, for the father I never really had, for the childhood lies, for the family dinners where we all smiled while he hid a second life, for my mother who loved him even when she suspected, for myself, the boy who once thought being a cop meant being a hero. But I also felt something else that day. Strength. Not rage, not revenge, just strength. I stood tall in that courtroom. I told the truth. The world see the scars my father left, not just the bruises on my mother's arms or the money he stole, but the cracks he made in my heart, in my trust, in my understanding of the world. Telling the truth nearly destroyed me, but hiding it would have destroyed me more. I now know that family isn't about blood. It's about loyalty, honesty, and who shows up when everything falls apart. My uncle, who stayed by my side. My mom, who finally found the courage to leave. My best friend, who reminded me I wasn't alone. And even the police officers who believed me when it mattered most. My father's arrest wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of my healing. The press went wild, of course. Corrupt cop, exposed by own son. I hated those headlines at first. They made it feel like a movie, like some dramatic plot twist. But this wasn't a movie. This was my life. And I had to pick up the pieces one day at a time. There are still days I wake up angry or lost or wondering if I'll ever fully trust authority again. But then I remember something important. I didn't choose what happened to me, but I did choose what I did with it. I chose to tell the truth. I chose to protect my mom. I chose to stand up even when my legs were shaking. And I would do it again. To anyone out there who feels like their whole world is built on lies, I see you. I know what it's like to feel like the ground beneath your feet has crumbled. But I also know this: truth has power. It might not be easy. It might come with consequences, but it sets you free. My father always said, you stand by your badge or you don't wear one at all. Well, I stood by the truth, and maybe that's the badge I'll wear, not one of metal, but one of courage. This isn't just my story. It's a reminder that sometimes justice starts with one voice, and that voice could be yours.